Doug, it's great to have you here with us today, helping us to record some of the history of the Coles building and the Coles brothers' efforts in the local and further afield districts. Doug, some of your memories of the early days with the Coles?
I would say it was 1955.
Yep. And you were just a young lad?
Yes, I had done an apprenticeship with Jack Brinson rather, a builder in a local district, Ashley Clinton next year.
Yeah.
And decided to move down here with my wife and live with my grandmother, who was extremely old at the time.
And she lived in Bridge Street?
And she lived just one section away from the factory.
Very handy.
And so all was well until I realised that I'd be better off to be doing some work in the carpentering line, which I'd been learning, and asked if Frank Coles if he'd be interested. He said yes, and so I started then.
Doug, do you have any memories of your first jobs with the Coles brothers?
Well, the person that needed a house built was an elderly man that had two sisters living with him. Well, the three of them lived in this cottage, what could you call it, that was about the size of the museum up here.
Okay.
But a wall between.
Yeah.
It had a tank on one end of a gabled roof, and that tank had a tap coming out of the bottom of it. Whenever he came in, when the man came home to have his lunch or whatever, you'd see him go out to the tap, turn the tap, put his hands underneath, shut the tap off and go inside. That's it. He didn't dry them all. Or soak them or anything. It was very primitive.
Yeah. So you built a house for them?
I worked for Frank Coles, who built the house for them.
Yeah. Built a new house.
Yes. They had turkeys that I couldn't believe were allowed into the kitchen of the new house.
Of the new house. You could understand the old house.
Yes, 5 or 6 turkeys could be walking around quietly in the kitchen while the two women were there, and I'm walking through to one of the bedrooms and so on.
So the timber for that house, would that have been sort of yeoman's?
I guess it all came from yeoman's, yeah.
Matai and birch.
I don't doubt that it came down directly from yeoman's. It didn't necessarily, I don't know this.
No.
But I don't think it would have come down to the factory and then gone back up.
Okay.
The same road. Yeah. It had just come down.
Yeah. How did you find the native timber like the matai and so forth to work with?
Excellent. Pine's softer.
Yeah.
But of course all the early pines didn't get treated, and that made it a very soft timber.
And Owen, of course, would be he'd be living round the road, and
he walked up. Yeah, he walked up from the bottom of the village, and he just walked up. And on occasions, I remember these, whoever was driving the truck to take us to work would drive out and across the other side of the main street, heading away from Owen, walking up, but stopped, waiting for him. This was an indication to him that we're ready to go, we're waiting, hurry up. Yeah. And of course Owen just kept on walking at the same old he never, that's Owen. He just carried it on as if nothing is happening at all, and he'd slowly get into the vehicle and off we go.
you never really worked in the factory all that often?
Oh no, not really.
No.
There were too many things outside that we'd done. Actually, two Mackie boys, Bob Mackie's sons, they rode their push bikes up to the corner,
I'll walk around.
and I rode my push bike from Onga over to there on a Saturday morning.
On the Wakarara Road corner, Highway 50, yep.
And we rode all the way up to that yeoman's mill.
Did you?
And actually, I know, we went across the bridge, up the hill, just looking for something that might be shootable.
Yeah, for a day shoot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We had 22, I
Yeah.
suppose. Yeah.
And quite
That's
often successful?
And then, and then came back, no, I don't know about that, the same day.
Yeah.
I mean...
You rode all the way back the same day?
It's all downhill coming back, of course.
Still a long way.
But that's, I don't know how many miles.
Oh, that's
something like 30 or 40.
A good distance, yeah. Yeah. So other characters, other men that you worked with in the, or from the building, Jack, you talked about Jack being the plumber and the joiner.
Jack was the man that could do anything, really. Not that he went around showing off and that sort of thing. He just could. He was just a very, very capable person. He was already retired, but he wanted to come back and asked me, I think, and I said, yeah, right. So I employed him for months and months and months.
Did you?
I don't know, yeah. I've got that in my book at home, but I didn't even, it wasn't the Coles factory, was it? It was Jack.
Yeah, yeah.
And Jack was the son of Charlie, and so was Frank. And so here's Frank running the factory.
Yep.
And the building.
So Doug, the Coles building in general, it's an iconic feature, Onga, and it's registered as Category 1 with Historic Places. It's an amazing building, isn't it, really? The number of machines in your day
that were here working.
Yeah.
Even up there.
Upstairs, yeah. So upstairs that's where the coffins and what else was carried out up. But in your day, that's what was, joinery was carried out up there?
Yes. But the staff of a firm like this, building firm, built houses for people. They had the carpenters that would go out and be a carpenter all day, but they had to have somebody that knew all about bullock teams and horses.
Yeah, yeah. Because
the timber for the house or the iron or whatever had to be carted there.
Yep.
And I guess that of the 18, say, that were employed...
Some of them would have been bullockers.
Well, they'd have been other than joiners.
Yeah.
I mean, there's carpenters and joiners, anybody that could handle timber, that's them, isn't it? Carpenters and joiners.
So in the days, you would have been in here often when it was humming, like all the straps, all the overheads were going, and it would have been quite rowdy.
Well, the noise, there was only one, what would you call it, an engine or a motor?
Engine, stationary engine.
And I don't know what the original ones would have been, whether they were a boiler.
Well, they say it was steam powered.
I think towards the end, well, in my time anyhow, it was electric.
Yes. So when you started here, wages as an apprentice, can you remember what you were getting?
No, I wasn't an apprentice.
Oh, you never did you'd done your apprenticeship with Brinson.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when I was here, when I was up, I was getting 5 shillings an hour.
Here?
No, I think I must have, up working for Jack.
Oh, yes.
Simpson.
Yeah.
Because I've just seen that. In fact, I've got all of those figures in a certain book.
Yeah.
This
But it
is
would have
what-
been a standard rate for the...
More or less,
More or less,
I
yeah.
guess so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't ever worry about what other people got or not, but I
No.
guess that was...
Your involvement in the community was quite immense. Yours and Shirley, your wife, she was involved.
Yes,
She was also a secretary of the golf club. When did you first start playing golf?
As a kid going to the primary school, because my brother and father and
Yeah.
and so golf was amongst them. You see, my father was in the original, in the start of all
Yes.
that. And the Bradleys and the whatevers.
Yeah,
And so I'd sort of go up there and have a...
your work and your support of the golf club was well thought of, and in the end you became an honorary life member, which was a great effort and just shows the appreciation of the members at the time for the work that you'd done.
Yeah.
It seems to have developed a good...
It's developed so well that it's really the prime, I'll use the word, the prime golf club in the Central Hawke's Bay district.
Without a doubt, very popular.
I mean, there's Waipukurau, it's a long way bigger as a place, but its golf club doesn't have the enthusiasm and the likability that the Onga one has.
No. So Doug, you're also a member, or you've been a member for a long time of the Bridge Park Domain and the running of that, and you also...
Well, you can't get off it.
You can't get off it, no.
Well,
Okay.
that's what they said to me.
Yeah, okay.
Once you're elected to it, it's you for life.
Yeah, well there you go. And you've taken the bull by its horns and you look after that rugby, well what was the rugby paddock now for the school children.
Yes.
Keep that mode for the sevens and
And I'm
the
still
sports
doing
days, and you're still doing it. And it's just to wind things up. What are your thoughts on what's happening with the Coles factory now?
Well, I think it's an excellent idea. It really is old. It hasn't changed hands. It's another one of the beauties of it.
Yeah.
It's still a Coles
It's still
factory,
a Coles factory,
and it always
yeah.
will be. And
Yeah.
I don't mind the name Coles being up there.
No.
It's valuable
Yep.
in the sense of how many years that family left England and still owned it when those ones that died.
Yeah.
Pretty nearly all of them are probably gone now, have they?
Yeah. Well, it
Do you
was
know?
over 150 years ago now, since really,
so they
or
must
coming
have.
up.